What I enjoyed learning about this week was assertive discipline and how to use that in the classroom. I was unfamiliar with this term prior to this week, and I think it's definitely something that I'll be able to apply in my future classroom. And I found it helpful to learn about because I think that I myself am a fairly passive person, so I think I could definitely have the tendency to be passive toward my students, and I feel like a lot of what I've learned so far has been about trying to teach students to self-regulate. And so, my understanding of that was asking students to think about what they did. Like, do you think that was a nice thing to do? Do you think that you should be doing that? And so, learning about assertive discipline was helpful so that I avoid doing that and instead address misbehavior directly and clearly, because if students are confused by what you expect them to do, obviously you can't expect them to do it, and you can't get upset with them for not understanding your expectations if they aren't clear. And then I also thought it was interesting learning about the opposite end of passive and it being the hostile response style. And I think that this one is probably less common. I don't think that I've seen this much in my experience, but I do know that my younger sister has dealt with this. I feel that educators who resort to hostile response styles need to learn to be more calm and collected and act as the adult in the situation. So my younger sister, she was pretty misbehaved, I would say, in her younger years. And I remember in third grade, her teacher sent her home a total of 19 times. She was sent home 19 times, and her teacher was very aggressive and hostile toward her. And my sister, who doesn't pick up on cues very well, she's on the spectrum, it was very difficult for her to understand when her teacher was angry with her. Why is my teacher angry with me? And I think that can also be avoided. These kind of misunderstandings can be avoided through the use of assertive discipline. And I also thought it was interesting to learn about how a passive response style appears to students, and it makes you seem very wishy-washy and unsure of yourself. And a way that I would use assertive discipline in my future classroom, I think, is to put up posters somewhere in the classroom, our classroom agreement. I think that students should have autonomy over the rules that we set up in our classroom. So I think one of the first things you should do is have a conversation with your students about what we think expected behavior should be, and we should work together and come up with that. And then I think that once a list like this is compiled, it should be put somewhere in the classroom for students to refer back to. And I think that this makes rules and expectations very clear, and they know exactly what behaviors are expected of them and what behaviors are appropriate. And I think that this can also help develop self-regulation skills. So instead of asking the teacher, is this okay to do? They can refer back to that, and they can decide for themselves what behaviors are appropriate. And I think that this ties in with assertive discipline because it makes it clear what is expected of students, and it's not hostile or wishy-washy. So students know exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it based on rules that were compiled together. And yeah.